Hi, my name is Ashley Laux. This is my Me in Action research video. Here's a little bit about me. I grew up in Woodbine, Kansas. It's a very small town, less than 200 people, and I'm sure they were counting their pets when they counted 200. I graduated from Kansas State University with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. I have been married to my husband Mac for 11 years. We currently live in Abilene, Kansas. He is a diesel tech teacher at Salina Area Technical College. Then I have three children. Jace is 8, Dodge is 6, and Taylor is 4. A little about my educational career. When I first got out of college, I taught in Tonganoxie, Kansas for 2 years. I taught second grade 1 year and first grade another year. I just finished my 9th year of teaching second grade at McKinley Intermediate School in Abilene. This last year, because of COVID, I was also a virtual teacher and in person. So it was a different year trying to juggle being in-person teaching while teaching my remote students at the same time. I believe that teaching and working with children is a gift that God gave me. So I like to help out at church. We have a kids zone that we do on Wednesday nights that I teach. Right now I'm currently teaching Bible school, and I'm a Sunday school teacher as well. Here are some of my educational goals. I believe that it's good for all teachers to be lifelong learners. There's constantly things changing. Just like this last year, I never thought I would teach online, but I did it and it worked out pretty well. I want to complete my master's as a reading specialist. Right now I enjoy being a second grade teacher and I can't imagine doing anything else, but I'm hoping that down the road I will use my reading specialist degree to be a Title I reading teacher. And my overall goal as an educator is to provide children with a rich environment where they feel safe to explore, initiate learning, and express themselves. So what is action research? I like this quote from Boss. It says, when teachers redesign learning experiences to make more relevant to students' lives. I think it's gathering information and then problem solve. So what's working in the classroom? What's not working in the classroom? What can you do to make things better for your students' learning? And what's the purpose? As I said, teachers can use the data that they collect to guide their instruction. We always want to do what's best for our students. Here are 4 types of action research. I found this with Coulihan. Individual teacher research, collaborative action research, school-wide action research, and district-wide action research. The goal of action research. I feel the overall goal for it is to help students be successful. I really liked this quote from Smith. Keep in mind that success in teaching doesn't just mean helping students perform better in tests. Success can also be defined in a number of ways, which go beyond assessment and which can also be valid. If you see students fully engaged and you hear their opinions as they actively participate in the lesson, then these signs of success are something you may like to remember and look for in future lessons. Here are the main steps of action research. I used Spencer's YouTube video for this. Phase 1, he said, was planning, which is coming up with your process. What's your question? What are you trying to find? What are your methods for finding this information out? Phase 2 then was the action, the experiment, doing the activity with your students, collecting the data as they're working on their project or whatever it is that you're trying to collect data for. Phase 3 is the analysis, where you gather all your information, you organize your data, you discuss with your peers about things that worked well, things that didn't work, and you discover your results. Then phase 4 was a conclusion, where you find out what you were hoping to find, and then you share your research with others. I also used this picture from his video. I thought it showed well how one phase moves on to the next phase. So action research versus traditional research. For action research, the researcher or the teacher, for example, is involved with the participants in the experiment, where in most traditional research, the researcher just observes the participants in the experiment. They're not part of the experiment themselves. I appreciated this quote from Spencer as well. The teacher actively participates in the situation while also conducting the research. And this picture was from his video that their teacher is participating and researching at the same time. Common problems that you might find with action research. The effects of individual teacher research may or may not reach outside the classroom. Several teachers within the same school may be conducting action research on a similar topic, but they may or may not discuss their experiences and results. And then collective action may be the most complex type of action research, requiring participants from all members of the faculty to be part of. So action research in my teaching, we have in our district for our teacher evaluations, there's a reflection part of the evaluation process. And so every 4 years when you're evaluated, you have a certain lesson that you go through the procedures of what things worked, what didn't work, what could you change. And that's the only time that I could think of that we do an actual reflection piece. Our district doesn't really have an action research that we've been following right now with the steps, but I liked this quote from Sagor. It says, "Believe it or not, you are probably doing some form of research already. Every time you change a lesson plan or try a new approach with your students, you are engaged in trying to figure out what works. Even though you may not acknowledge it as a formal research, you are still investigating, implementing, reflecting, and refining your approach." I appreciate that quote because that's what teachers do. I do that all the time. I say, man, that lesson did not work. What can I change for next time? Or what can we do differently? I get different students every year, so I have to change my lessons according to what works best for them. So even though I may not be going through the actual steps of the action research, I feel like I'm still doing some type of part of it. I liked this quote too from Arnold. "Action researchers believe or adopt a position which says the world can be seen differently from different perspectives." So how does it all support educational success? Well, in this process, teachers are reflecting on their lesson, and that is beneficial for the teacher and the students because they're looking for what can be better, what can be improved. I appreciated this quote from STEM Learning. "It's an ongoing process, and teachers are reflecting on their practice. They're highlighting what's gone well, they're picking out what needs to be changed." And when teachers are actively trying to figure out what works best for their students, the students will be more engaged, and the teachers can use that data to guide their instruction. So the course learning outcome, sorry, I can't find a way to move me out of the way. I thought the information given was all relevant to the standard. There were many different resources that I was able to look off of to learn more about the action research. The relevancy. From reading the different articles, I found that I do a little bit of action research in my classroom already. However, it would be beneficial if I started collecting more data to really see the outcome. Teachers should be continuously modifying their lessons to meet the needs of their students. In my reflection, I think action research is a great tool for teachers and districts. It is a process that helps teachers reflect on their teaching. I will definitely be using some of these ideas in my teaching and will share them with my grade level team as well. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here are my references, and I look forward to more conversations with you throughout this class.